Hey there, it's Jordan Mercier alongside Matt Latour, and this is This Month in Niagara, where we look back at some of the biggest stories that were making headlines around our region. Matt, always good to see you. I hope February treated you well.
Yeah, a weird month. I think we hit 18 degrees at one point this month, and then we
Yeah.
also hit minus 18 degrees. So it's definitely been a roller coaster. But February, that's kind of its job. It always keeps you guessing.
All right, let's keep people informed as to the biggest stories that we covered, and it certainly is a little bit in terms of a mixed bag here. Seven people have been charged with second-degree murder in connection to a death at the Niagara Detention Center last summer. So we got a bit of an update on something that was obviously of interest to a lot of people.
Yeah, so June 2023, a 52-year-old man was found unresponsive at the detention center, and the last 7-8 months have been investigations by Niagara Regional Police Service. A few weeks ago, two people were arrested and charged, and then just last week, five more arrested and charged. So we might be seeing the tip of the iceberg with this. There might be more arrests coming. This is something that investigation is always ongoing, and it's interesting to see just kind of how big and how widespread this is, and definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, absolutely. On a bit of a lighter note, Julia's Hope Cup raised more than $70,000 in support of the Hope Center. And it's my understanding this absolutely blew away the previous totals that we've seen.
Yeah, last year's Julius Hope Cup, this is the 13th year now, but last year raised $54,000, which is still a pretty penny, especially for the Hope Center here in Welland, which helps feed, so many people meals. And it's always a great turnout. You look at the story behind it, behind Julia Turner and now her father, Paul Turner, running this event. And it's just the day that everybody gets out and plays some ball hockey, or pond hockey if there's a pond, but this year didn't really warrant that. And I did compete this year. I scored one goal. It was on my own net. Did not quite go well. And our team, the Giant Country Boys, we went a stunning 0-3. But
Ouch.
we got some nice food from the community. This is always a fun event, just chatting with people. And even though it was a cold day, obviously everybody's hearts were warmed because more than $70,000 got raised.
What position were you playing?
Pylon mainly, but I guess you could call it defense slash goalie. It was the little tiny nets that were maybe this big, and somehow we still let 7 goals in like a 10-minute game. But
Ouch.
hey, it's the thought that counts and it's the effort that counts, right?
Certainly. After 10 years of consultations, planning, and preparation, the Niagara Falls Exchange, can you believe it, finally opened.
Finally opened. They had an open house on Family Day weekend, actually, and I know I've been talking to Clark Burnett from the Niagara Falls Exchange, and he's so happy to see this finally come to light. This is going to be a great event space. You can rent it out for, art exhibitions, community events, all sorts of things. And he said for residents in Niagara Falls, this is really exciting, but it could also be a great tourist destination given the tourism, economy in Niagara Falls. So it's great to see that this event space is finally opened. I know they had quite a few roadblocks and, the opening date got rescheduled a couple of times, but it's finally here. You can go check it out anytime you want. It's in Niagara Falls.
Niagara College's president celebrates 4 years in the role, and you had the opportunity to do a pretty in-depth interview with him as he looked back on what started as a pretty turbulent time.
Yeah, President Sean Kennedy took over the role February 2020. And if your memory is good, you remember March 2020 was the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. That is quite the way to start in a role as important with decision making as president at a college. He's no stranger to Niagara College. He's been there for well over a decade now. But taking over from the former president Dan Patterson, who had been the president for 25 years, that can be a very daunting task. And I think President Kennedy has done a fantastic job with Niagara College so far. And he's a very personable guy. And in our conversation, he talked about, being present as the president, being seen on campus, being seen at community events, and not just being somebody that's, working in an office all day. So it was a fantastic conversation. We chatted for probably 15 minutes before the interview actually even started. As an Niagara College graduate, I wanted to learn more about him as well. And then the interview itself was about 20 minutes. And we were just chatting the whole time about, his love for basketball. He got kids. He lives up in Font Hill. He's a guy that's very ingrained in the Niagara community, even outside of work. So it's a wonderful person to be in this role.
I noticed a smirk when you said President Kennedy.
Yes, not to be confused with John F. Kennedy, of course.
He's of crazy lineage, isn't he?
I don't think they're related. I didn't ask him for his ancestry.com report, but I don't think they're related.
Last but not least here, the Welland Jackfish. They signed a 10-year partnership with Newark Brewing Company to build a new merchandise section at the ballpark. This is a really cool idea.
Yeah, so Newark Brewing Company, they've been making pond water, which is the Jackfish's official beer, for the last couple of years, and the Jackfish have been a hit here in not just the Welland community, but throughout the Niagara region as well. They won the championship last year, and they wanted to come back with an impact this year. And nothing says we're going to stick around quite like a 10-year partnership, which I think is a very bold move for a team that's only 5, 6 years old. But it tells the community, hey, we're dedicated to keeping this here. And now they're making their ballpark, which is not owned by them by any means. They're making more upgrades to it. Last year they replaced some of the seats. This year they're adding a new merchandise section. The Welland Jackfish are here to stay, and they want everybody to know that, and they want to know that it's fans first for their games. And the championship defense season starts in April, so it's coming quick.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, we'll keep you up to date on everything related to the Welland Jackfish. Matt Latour, thank you so much for taking the time. And thank you for leading us down this walk of February of 2024. You have been watching This Month in Niagara.